The following production is produced by the State University of New York College at Oneonta.
Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Inside Red Dragon Sports. I'm your host, Geoff Hassard, Assistant Director of Athletics and Sports Information Director here at SUNY Oneonta. And on last week's show, we talked women's track. Tonight, we're going to flip it over to the men's side. We've invited back to studio head cross-country coach and associate track and field coach Matt LaPiccolo, while we've also invited junior Sean Daly and senior Kevin Harding. So please join me after the break, where I'll be talking with tonight's first guest, Matt LaPiccolo.
My pot of gold, your daddy's little girl, till heaven home.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now in studio for a second time this year is cross-country coach and associate track and field coach Matt LaPiccolo. Welcome back.
Thanks, Geoff.
Fun to be here, huh?
Well, it's my second time around. I think I might be one of your first repeat guests here on the show.
You're going to be a regular. We'll have you on all the time. Anyway, we're into track season, but I think before we talk about track and field a little bit, when we had you on in the fall, you talked about your cross-country team. We had a lot of newcomers, a lot of young runners on both sides. We ended the season pretty strong at the regional meet. And why don't you just recap the cross-country season for us and how you think it went overall?
Well, the men ended up 9th in the region, which was the first time ever we've cracked the top 10. So obviously that was a huge accomplishment for us. The SUNY meet went well. We were higher than we were last year, which is always an improvement as well. So we didn't get any all-region runners, but the team pack time is what saved us, and that's the essence of the sport of cross-country. So we were pretty excited about that. On the women's side, we were very young. We got the whole team coming back essentially next year from the top 7 with a bunch of freshmen. So we're just trying to get the recruiting class up and improve on our spot where we finished 15th at the regionals.
Right. So now for that sport, now you want to try and, I guess you say, fill on the backside. You want to try and improve your top 7, but you also want to bring in maybe some kids that might be able to potentially add depth overall to your lineup. Is that what you're trying to do now?
Well, absolutely. We're trying to recruit athletes that can immediately come in and be in the top 7 and develop over time into number 1 runners by the time they're juniors and seniors and so forth. So that's what we're trying to do right now. We got a lot of experience coming back next year, which will be different from this past fall, which is good. But we always try to get the incoming class to help out and contribute right away.
Right. And just along the lines, we'll put in a plug right now. We've been selected to host the NCAA Atlantic Region meet next year, November 13th at Fortin Park. How exciting is that for our program?
Well, it's been a while coming. I mean, we've been running at Fortin Park since 2003 when we hosted the SUNY Championships, and it's just a great venue for cross country. You have the old open airfield, so it's a big grass start and finish area. Some ski trails attached to it. There's kind of go up on the hill, but it's great spectator-friendly viewing. It's looping, so you can see them quite often. And the good part is we're centrally located in the region. The Atlantic region is New York and New Jersey, and Oneonta is basically 3.5 hours from everywhere, which is really good as far as that goes. A lot of the Atlantic region coaches voted to have it here, and we're hoping to put on a good show for it.
Now, this meet includes over 40 teams from that region and close to 2,000 spectators. I mean, it's amazing that there would be that many spectators for cross country, but
this will be quite the spectacle. I was just checking over the last year's results, and there were 240 some men and 240 some women that finished the race. So over 40 teams, top 7 in each team get to compete. hordes and hordes of people would be there trying to cheer their teams on to the NCAA championships. The top 2 teams automatically qualify along with 7 individuals. Later on after the meet, some at-large teams may get in. We are a very strong region, so it's very competitive for those national qualifying spots.
Well, so we're certainly looking forward to that, and people can just check out our website throughout the next 6-7 months. There'll be information, our course maps. So, people keep your eyes open for that. I mean, there'll be more stuff coming. So,
absolutely, and obviously with the help from your office in terms of getting the course maps ready, I think we've done a good job so far with the administration of the meet, and we're just very supportive here of everything that we're doing to put on a top-notch show. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, no, we are excited. That's going to be a great time. Track, let's recap a little bit. You graduated from Plattsburgh, you ran cross country and track, and last time we talked a little bit about your cross country career, but you were an All-American at Plattsburgh in the 800 meters. And just to recap your student athlete experience and how the track side now instead of the cross country.
Well, I didn't, I transferred to Plattsburgh after 1 year at University of Buffalo, and then I started running. So essentially my sophomore year, and I was able to actually compete 4 years and finish up in my grad school year, my 5th year, which was the year I was All-American. So it worked out pretty well. I was young going to college, I was 17, which some of my athletes are when they come here as freshmen. So I was the same way. So I was able to get that extra year, when you're a little bit older and mature physically and mentally. And it worked out for me. I got faster each year in the 800 meters and ended up earning All-American honors indoor my senior year. So.
Now you ran at Sherburne, Irville, small school?
Real small school. I graduated 78 in my class. I was talking with some recruits the other day about that, and they were amazed that I graduated that small of a class. But Sherburne's actually growing a little bit now. The classes are a little bit bigger, but it was a great experience there in cross country and track. I actually played basketball too, so 3-sport athlete.
Well, the reason why I asked that question is because when you're recruiting athletes now, and you went to a small school, and we have kids from all ranges of classes and stuff like that. Do you want to recruit super studs and big-time athletes that you think can contribute right away, but in track, there's kids that can fit in and do other things, and how do you relate your experience as a small, school athlete to where you became an All-American at the college level? How do you relate that into when you're recruiting to try and get some of those kids and try and convince them that, hey, in a couple of years, you could be good?
Exactly. I mean, we recruit obviously 2 ways. We try to get the big stud in, that can make that immediate impact, but we also recruit potential. And I feel like that was me out of high school. I mean, I wasn't great by any means, and I was able to develop over time. And essentially, since we started track here in 2003, we've developed a lot of All-Americans in that manner. We've had a few studs come through, Musu and Joe, Musu Jackson Buckner and Joe Reed, and so on, but we've developed a lot of All-Americans as well, and that's kind of what we made our living on here with All-Americans and making it, hopefully, in the next couple of weeks to 14 straight NCAA championships. So we certainly, and the people that have qualified recently are a lot of those kind of people.
Now you're, and of course you probably, every coach says if I knew then what I know now. I mean, as an athlete, because we train a lot different, and your knowledge of training techniques and all that have grown tremendously. When you incorporate those into your workouts for your kids, I mean, are those the things that you try to, tell them that, hey, this will work because it'll help you do this?
Absolutely. I take a lot of stuff which I did in college, but it's been a while now, 12 years since I was All-American, and certainly the training evolves every year. So over that amount of time, it's evolved a tremendous amount. But also, I take what I've got per event group, based on the 800, and you can go up or down from there and take pieces that work and pieces that don't work out, to coach any event on the track. And I think that seemed to work well in terms of adapting to what works for the individual.
Okay. Now, what are the differences or subtle differences in training for cross-country season and a track season?
Well, for some people, the pure distance runners, it'll be very similar. We set up to run the same training plan for 24 weeks, building through the summer for cross country and then running the specific workouts when they get here in the fall. We set it up the same way to build up through the winter season, run some shorter races indoor, and then peak for the outdoor championships. Middle distance is going to be a little different, and then within middle distance, you have the 800 group and the 1500 group is going to be doing some different things. But a lot of those people ran cross country, which helped them aerobically. Now we just implement speed and try to meet in the middle. We hit it from both ends. Obviously, the track, the sprinters have been training all fall very specifically in what they're doing, and now that's coming together in their specific events.
Now, any differences, because there are a few different events outdoor as opposed to indoor because of the limited number of schools and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, do you see any differences in the way that your athletes approach their training for indoor season and outdoor season?
Absolutely. I think people are more excited because there are multiple events to choose from, and so multiple people can have varied success, and they can be kind of narrow their approach to racing and be very specific over a 200-meter difference in a race between, the 800 and 1,000 or so on and so forth. So it allows people to be more successful at multiple events, which is a cool and kind of thing that they can be successful at.
Right, because track, even though, last week when we talked to A-May, it is a team sport, but an individual, and everybody has to kind of find their own way. And she was a multi-event athlete herself in college, so she talked about how, you can take multi-event people that may have done it in high school, and you can say, well, maybe they'll do better over here in the 200, or maybe make them an 800 runner. So do you guys try to adapt those kinds of athletes into specific events?
Certainly, right now we have groups. With the sprints are broken up into short sprints, long sprints, middle distances, 1,500 and mile, or 1,500 and 800, and then distances, steeple, all the way up to 5 and 10K. So we have groups within there, but even within those groups, we kind of try to find out which event is very specific to the individual, and then we can go up or down from there and find those strengths. And the good part about things right now is we have a lot of young people in the program, so it's exciting for them to learn and get better, significantly get better from week to week, which is exciting. And we saw that last weekend, and now going into this weekend, we're going to try to get a little bit farther ahead on those lists going into the championship meeting.
Right, so let's now start to talk specifically about some of the performances that we've had up to this point on the men's side. As you said, it looks like incrementally, progressively, each meet we're running faster, we're doing better things. We've got people on the provisional list now for the NCAAs. Can you highlight some of the kids that have been doing well in all the events, and then what do you see in the next couple of weeks, because we're approaching the SUNY championship meet and beyond? I mean, we're always SUNY championship, but our goal is the NCAAs and to try and win national championships.
Certainly. Everything is a process here, especially on the track. It's a process in terms of what events you can run to prepare to run your main events later on. Obviously, one person that's been very influential is Kevin, but he gets to throw the shot and the weight every weekend. So we have to be very specific in his training in terms of training to get better. Right. And you can talk more with him about that when the time comes. But track-wise, obviously Sean Dale, you're going to talk to him a little bit later, returning from the national championship 4x4 from last year. He's doing a great job in the 800 and on the relay. He qualified last weekend anchoring the 4x4 and just missed provisionally in the 800. We have a bunch of guys, Sean Wren in the 400, Nate Weber in the 800, Frank Pfaffenberger in the 800, Sean Bernstein in the 2 and the 4, and we're just waiting for Darrell Cull to bust out in the 55 here in the next couple weeks.
Now, when you say some of those names like Sean Wren and Sean Bernstein and Nate Weber, I mean, these are guys who, last year they were on the team, they kind of were doing things, and you didn't know maybe how good they could be. I mean, they're all of a sudden now they're
Sean Wren's learned a lot from Eric Thies, obviously. Sean being the freshman last year, Eric being a senior, and learning exactly how to do things right and race and train and be a winner. And certainly he's adapted that and is making a big impact as a sophomore this year. Bernstein and Weber are learning from the older guys now that are ahead of them because they're freshmen, so they're making a big impact as far as that goes, bringing in the talent that we talked about and then developing that from starting at a higher level. Right. Tim Greenberg's developed well too. He's our steepler getting ready for outdoor, but he's got incredible range to run down on the 4x400 meter relay team and qualify for nationals as almost a distance runner.
Right. So. Now, Tim Greenberg, local Oneonta. His dad works for the college, has for 30 years. They're a plus. I mean, and he is one of those athletes that has, over the first 3 years, freshman, he came in, he had some injuries, he had to take indoor season a little lighter, and then outdoor. And then last year he was on our SUNY champion 4x4 in the outdoors. So, I mean, is he someone that, as you see, developed training, taking it to heart, coming along?
Absolutely. Tim came into Oneonta as a soccer player essentially, but we kind of transferred him over to the cross country scene. So he's been behind everyone else. So he's very young as a training age,
Right.
and his development has taken a different road than everybody else. But the potential is huge for Tim. We saw that towards the end of outdoor and steeplechase. That was his event at Oneonta High. But now we're dabbling in the 4x4, and he's trying to get the mile under his belt now too. So the potential there is very great. Trying to develop his speed, and certainly his aerobic system during cross country season is going to help a lot during the steeple.
Now, what do you see going forward? Any predictions for the SUNYX? I mean, obviously you want to perform well, but where do you think we might be?
Well, I was pushing some numbers earlier today. We could be anywhere from 3rd to 5th. I mean, a 3rd place finish would be an improvement from last year on the guys' side, and obviously that's what we're going after. But it's going to be tight right in the middle of the pack there. It depends on the number of SUNYAC champions we have, and hopefully Durrell can get it done in the dashes, and Ren can go after the 400, and Bernstein in a 2 and the 4, and then Daly in the 8 with Weber and Frank, and see if we can win the relays, and see if Kevin can hop up on the list with Greg Humbert in the weight throw and the shot. So we got very specific events we need to do well in order to achieve the 3rd place thing. We're not going to out quantity anybody, but we have to out quality them, and that's always been our strength, and that's where we're going to have to get it done again this weekend.
Right, and it seems like this year depth is going to help us.
Certainly, we do have a strong middle distance crew, which helps the depth in the relays.
Right.
The 4x4 and the DMR at the end. We can put 2 very strong teams on without having to double anybody in both events, and go after the win and see what we can do, score some high points in those events.
Well, we certainly want to wish you good luck in the coming weeks and month, because
Yes.
the NCAAs are in mid-March or whatever.
Yeah, we got 4 weeks away. We just try to qualify, run faster each weekend. Obviously, that's the way it happened last weekend at BU. And we'll peak for SUNYAC, so try to score some points and go after some NCAA qualifiers to get some more people there.
All right, well, we want to thank you for coming by again.
Thanks, Geoff. It's
All
great
right.
to be here.
All right, well, we certainly want to thank Matt LaPiccolo for coming by today. And we want to, after the break, we'll be joined by senior Kevin Harding.
Hate those screaming commercials on your radio? Well, so did we. That's why we created Oneonta Community Radio, WUOW. You can leave regular radio behind, just tune to 104.7 WUOW, bringing you arts, information, and entertainment from the State University at Oneonta.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now in studio is senior Kevin Harding. Welcome to the show, Kevin.
Thanks, Geoff. Glad to be here.
All right, well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm Kevin Harding. I'm a senior. I'm from Pearl River, New York, and I'm a criminal justice major.
Pearl River, New York, is that a big, you went to Pearl River High School? Or
Yes, Pearl River High School.
Big high school?
Not really. Graduated with about 185.
Okay, well, that's a pretty good size.
Yeah.
Coming to Oneonta, was that transferred in from?
Western Connecticut State.
Oh, Western Connecticut, okay.
Yeah.
I know some people down there. You found the transition to Oneonta good?
Yeah, it was definitely pretty smooth. I mean, especially being part of the team was a big part of it, like helping with the upperclassmen, helping with your classes, and just being here was a big help.
Who were some of the influences when you first got to got here and kind of met into the track program?
I mean, definitely Mike DeVasto and Angelo Basilico and Joe Del Grosso were a big part of it.
Yeah, now they're out doing out at Redlands University. Is Mike still there? Or
Angelo's there.
Angelo's there. Yeah, and do you still talk with him and workouts and things?
Every now and then we talk about it. Yeah, it's fun.
Now you're kind of like the leader of the weight group, the throwers.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe we can talk a little bit about what it's like to be a team leader and doing the workouts and what kind of workouts you do. But, what's it like to be a team leader?
I mean, it's definitely a responsibility, and it was kind of something I was prepared for by watching the other guys as I came throughout the years. Like, you knew it was coming, and, it's just kind of something that was done before me, so I saw how it was. Now,
when your workouts, because, over the years, you have gotten a little bigger, which we know from the workouts has made you a better performer. What kind of workouts do you do?
I mean, definitely just like compound lifts like deadlift, squat, and bench, just stuff like that, trying to get yourself as strong as possible because, I mean, in the throws events, that's all it is really.
Right. Now, how long of, what's the usual length of a workout, like a daily routine?
Like a time?
Yeah.
It's usually always try and keep it under an hour.
Yeah.
Usually,
Too much, do you think? leave yourself open for injuries, or?
I definitely think so. I mean, one of the biggest things I've learned at Oneonta since I've been here is sometimes less is more when training.
Now, when you do your, how many days a week do you actually throw the implements around?
In the fall, we try and get, before we're not in, like competing with meets in the weekend, about 4, and then in the middle of the season, like 3, and then towards the end, when we're trying to peak, it's usually around 2.
Okay. Now, indoors, you throw the shot and the weight,
Mm-hmm.
and the weight weighs 35 pounds.
Yeah.
Shot put weighs
16
pounds. Outdoors, now you add the hammer.
It's the hammer, the disc, and the jab too.
Okay.
But the weight isn't there anymore.
Right. Now, how have you been doing so far this season? I mean, you're happy with the performances that you've had?
I mean, yeah, they've been all right. I always want to do better, obviously,
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
But I've been, so far, I think, things are going according to plan.
Now, because it's only really the shot put and the weight, the transition from indoor to outdoor season, what's that like? Because you're going to add, like you said, you add the discus and the
Yeah.
hammer. How much of a difference is that, and maybe some of the things that you do in training-wise?
It's definitely harder for like athletes that do all the events to like work in all those days each week. So you kind of have to choose like what you're going to go with, like whether it's hammer and shot or disc and shot, and just go with those and train those, because if you try and spread yourself out among too many events, they're all not going to be the best.
Right. Now, what do you think is your best event?
Definitely the shot.
Shot put?
Yeah.
Now, working at the hammer, because I've known people who've thrown the hammer, whatever, and all that torque that you generate with your upper body and stuff like that. I mean, is that working on the mechanics of that? Was that something that you had to really work at to get better at, or?
I'd say definitely, yeah. I mean, I never threw hammer weight before I came to Oneonta, so I mean, definitely working on the form and the mechanics is the biggest part.
Right.
About getting that down, especially in the hammer.
Yeah. Now, how do you see our team so far going in? We're a couple weeks out from about a week out from the SUNY. How do you, personally, how do you think you'll do, and how do you think the team will do?
I think personally, I'd like to, be in the middle of the pack for placing where I was last year, and then just try and get up on that list as high as I can in both events. Overall, as a team, I think we look good. We've progressed a lot over the season, and things look good.
Right. Who are some of the teammates that you think might surprise us going forward?
I like from the throws, definitely Chris Rollo, and Sarah Timmons obviously is very good. In other events, I guess the 4x4 does very well. Frank Pfaffenberger, Nate Weber, people like that. I think they could definitely jump up on those lists.
Now, also just talk a little bit maybe about academics and how important that is to your overall, career here. I mean, have you had, has it been positive? Your criminal justice major, and has it been good?
Yeah, I definitely like the program here a lot, and I definitely think 2-track was very good at like saying like be the best at everything you can do. So I mean, and just pick up your, try and do as well as you can in the classroom as you do in the circle.
Right. So the two have really worked hand in hand for you as far as trying to excel at both, and what the coaches preach and the philosophy of the program. You think that those things have meshed pretty well for you?
Definitely, yeah. For just trying to be the best at everything you can do.
Now, did you ever think you'd be as good as you are now, and possibly even better as you have another another outdoor season to go?
I probably did never think so. I definitely think, I always had like high expectations to do well, but I think, coming to Oneonta was a good move for how well I've done.
All right. Now, and we certainly want to thank you for coming by, and we wish you good luck, and we hope that maybe you'll get a SUNY championship up there on the mantle for yourself and the team. We hope that you guys perform well, so thanks for coming by.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank Kevin for coming by, and after the break, I'll be joined by junior Sean Daly.
Low-fat cheese sandwiches on whole wheat bread. Chewy and good for you. Snacks high in calcium help build strong bones, and foods rich in fiber are good for your heart. So you have the power to dominate. Can your food do that? Run, throw, think, eat better. Find out more at smallstep.gov.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now in studio is junior Sean Daly. Welcome to the show, Sean.
Thank you.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a junior, music industry major from Weedsport, New York, which is about half an hour west of Syracuse, right on the thruway.
Okay.
Not much going on.
Music industry. We haven't had anybody on that's been a music industry major. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
It's a kind of a combination of a business degree and more traditional music degree. I didn't want to go music performance or education, which are pretty much your only two choices. So the program here was a nice fit.
Now, what are you hoping to do with that?
I'm actually looking to get into intellectual property and copyright law once I graduate. We'll see, getting into the visual arts too.
Oh, okay. Now, Joe Reed was music industry
Music
major.
industry as well.
And
yeah.
so have you been in touch with him and what's going on with him?
I actually have not.
No?
Since he graduated.
No?
No.
I know we've seen him around campus a couple of times. He's come back and popped his head in, so it's good to see him. Just let everybody know, you're a member of our 4x4 relay that won the national championship last year, so we'll say congratulations now since we have you on the air here.
Thank you.
What kind of an experience was that for you?
Pretty surreal. I've always had trouble with injuries, and it wasn't a sure thing that I would even run indoor last year. So to just, put in the hard work week after week and finally end up where we did was kind of just unexpected, I would say.
Now you do that now as a sophomore, and you're almost like, geez, is that all there is? You know what I mean? Sometimes some athletes can be like, wow, that's it. I've already reached the peak,
Yeah. I definitely don't feel like that at all. Of course, now the goal is to go back as an individual in the 800 probably. Of course, to keep taking back relays. But you're right, you don't want to be that kid who peaks out when he's a sophomore in terms of accomplishment. Right.
Now this year, you're also a member of our cross-country team. And you kind of, like you said, you're injury prone and you kind of came, you had an injury during cross-country season. You're coming back. How do you think that's gone? Because recently your times are kind of around where you'd like to be and hopefully get a little better. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your rehab and how you got to this point?
Yeah, I had a couple months off for an IT band issue that flared up into tendonitis in my calf. And I don't know, I just always hold my breath to make sure I can still compete in track. But each week, I think we've been going for 5 weeks now, competition times have been dropping slowly. I PR'd in every event last weekend at BU, running faster than I ever have, so I can't really complain.
Now, you're hoping to, like you said, you're hoping to make the Nationals as a qualifier in the 800. What do you think it's going to take to get there?
I'm about a half second off the provisional time right now, 2.5 away from auto. Realistically, it's going to be another second and a half or two to be competitive.
Now, when we say second and a half, because people don't know how fast you run anyway, what kind of a time is that equivalent to?
Right now, I'm running around a 155 flat. I'm going to need to get down to a 153 or 152 mid.
Which is
to make the trip.
Way faster than I can ever run. 153, you'd probably be still a half a lap ahead of me. What kinds of things this year? We're coming up on the SUNY Championship meet. We're hoping to perform well there. We had Coach LaPiccolo on earlier, and he's kind of scored the meet a little bit based on what's on the list now for the SUNY. He thinks we can be anywhere from 3rd to 5th. How do you see us performing there as a team? Do you think that's about right for us?
I think we always perform solidly at SUNY, given what we have. You could say, we're kind of handicapped in the field events currently. But we have consistent performers like Dustin Cox in the high jump who really help us out, even though we don't have the quantity, we have some quality. And I know we always go into a meet with the mindset of obviously we're going to bring everything that we have and just hope that some people don't show up all there.
Right, well, we certainly hope that everybody performs well. In your group of runners working out together, who in that group do you think will, possibly either, challenge for some SUNY titles? Or?
The Pure 800 group is pretty small. Nate Weber and myself are both, of course, dropping time considerably.
Yeah.
And I'd say in the mid-distance and the slightly longer group, Frank Pfaffenberger has definitely been doing a lot of work. He had kind of an off year last year, but he's bringing his times down. We have a couple of good guys in the 3K and 5K, David Googe, Matt LaRue. Of course, to even make the SUNY list, you almost have to be running provisional national times just because of the strength of the conference, so that really says something.
Yes, in the middle distance events, yes. Now, going forward, because outdoor season, is the 800 the event you think you're going to compete as well?
Oh, for sure.
Will you double up anywhere, or is it just straight 800?
We're going to move training-wise to more of an 8/1500 progression. I'd like to lengthen out a little bit, but the 8's the primary focus. I mean, once I can get off these turns in indoor,
right,
with the height, anything helps.
Yeah. Now, we've already, this week, we provisionally qualified in the 4x4. Why don't you tell us who was on that team that did that?
Freshman Sean Bernstein led off. He actually got kind of gypped in both of his races. He got tripped coming to the cut. So he's got, a little more potential to take time off. Sean Wren came in. He's been running real well in the open 4 for us. Tim Greenberg, 400/steeplechase double, which I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
And then I'd close the deal for us.
Now, Coach LaPiccolo talked about Tim Greenberg and how his he can run a 400 and then he can run a mile, or his versatility. I think in the middle of the, as you say, middle distance, actually probably adds a little more depth in some of those areas that we might not have some other guys. So.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, I would trust Greenberg with my life. You know he's going to show up for a race completely in it. There's no issues with mental motivation or just lackluster performances, I think, with any of the guys on the team this year.
Right. I mean, he certainly is someone who's even in the first 3 years of his career has developed and kind of caught into that training routine and the mentality of the philosophy of the program, which how do you feel about, where the program philosophy is and how you guys train? I mean, how it works together?
I mean, speaking just purely for the cross guys who come in together, and I mean, you can see it kind of trickle down to the sprinters. Every day is a solid effort. You come, you do what you can, and you don't really leave anything out, and you prepare as if each day were a race. And it's just the familiarity, the routine. This is business,
Right.
Business as usual.
Right. So the consistency and the continuity, and as you guys get older and become the team leaders, passing that kind of stuff on to the younger kids, which, I mean, that's why we have so many All-Americans and, national champions that we're now getting because of that. So academically, why don't you tell, a little bit more music industry. You told us you're hoping to be able to get into trade right and stuff like that, but campus life, let's talk a little bit about how you think that's gone and the activities on campus. And
it's been all right. I got caught my freshman year, spring semester. I got hurt, and then I was just running around, not very good at time management, let the GPA slip a little bit. Went from a 3.73 to a 3.06. But we're back up with some 3.8s, a 4.0. I mean, that's what it's going to take to get into a competitive law school. I think on campus there's always something to do, and being on a team really does teach you good time management concepts.
Yeah.
Of course, if you apply them.
Yeah. Overall, your experience up to this point at Oneonta?
Has been great. The program was a great fit for me, academically and running-wise, and I am pretty confident that I might not have improved as much as I have without the consistent, training under Matt.
Well, we certainly want to thank you for coming by. We want to wish you good luck in the rest of the indoor season and forward to the outdoor season. We hope that you guys can get back on top in the 4x4 and even yourself in the 800. So thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
All right, well, I'd like to thank all my guests tonight, Sean Daly, Kevin Harding, and Matt LaPiccolo. And we'd like to thank you for joining us again this week. Please join us next Monday evening for another episode of Inside Red Dragon Sports.